What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Stephen A. I'm on vacation. I've been out of the mix the last few days because I'm busy about to send my daughter to college. And while I was hanging out with her for dinner on Saturday night, I saw that the National Association for Black Journalists gave me a Thumbs Down Award. Now, I know there's a lot of people that are expecting me to go nuclear. And the reality of the situation is I just might. But at this particular moment, that's not my inclination. I want to tell you, first off, before I say anything, I heard them loud and clear. I'm listening. I'm far from perfect. And I will always strive to do better on behalf of my community, for the journalism community, and beyond, in the days and the weeks and the years to come. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to address what was said about me with the fervor that it deserves. Because even though I heard you, even though I am listening, even though I will always strive to do better, that doesn't negate the bullshit that the NABJ did Saturday night or Friday night, whichever night it was. I believe it was Saturday night. It is BS. And I get a lot of people want to pile on and they want to jump on it because you have your own individual feelings about me. I'm here to tell y'all are entitled to that. Not the NABJ. You're not entitled to that. This is me we're talking about here. I am the same guy that brought a nationally televised show to a journalism conference, which is the NABJ, the last 2 years. Did you have anything to say about me then? Did I get a thumbs down then? First Take, a nationally televised show, which has been #1 for 14 straight years. We came to the National Association for Black Journalists in Chicago and Cleveland, back-to-back years. Of course, I got to thank ESPN for that. They're the ones that signed off on that. Specifically, now former executive Dave Roberts. It doesn't happen without him. It doesn't happen without ESPN. But you know who else it doesn't happen without? Me. Because if I'm not willing to show up, we ain't coming. But I was there. I was there not just to do the show. I also stood in the booth for over an hour doing the jobs fair. I also gave a speech. I also mentored and talked to, as I continue to do, young, aspiring black journalists, and I have done that religiously for decades. I started my career at the Philadelphia Inquirer. I know it's the New York Daily News as a high school reporter, but thereafter, in 1994, I began my career at the Philadelphia Inquirer, courtesy of Sandra Long, a longtime executive for the Philadelphia Inquirer, synonymous with the NABJ, whom I first met at the jobs fair of the NABJ. My career started because I was at the NABJ job fair. And yet, Saturday night, I saw the president of the organization, Erin Haynes, go up on stage and give me a Thumbs Down Award for disparaging black women. I received a lot of insults in my day. That might be the lowest. I'll address that in a second. But I want you all to understand the magnitude of what a few board members for the NABJ elected to try and do to me. Ladies and gentlemen, did you know that in the history of the NABJ, according to my research, only 4 individuals have ever received the Thumbs Down Award? Usually, it's reserved for organizations. But myself, along with founder, owner, and president and CEO of Circle City Broadcasting, Mr. DeJuan McCoy, received it this past weekend. But also Jason Blair, the disgraced New York Times reporter. That is the category that I have now been lumped into. I've been in this business for 33 years. I'm one of 21 African Americans in this country's history to have ever been named a general sports columnist. I have climbed the charts from an intern to a high school reporter, all the way to a columnist. I've hosted national radio shows, as I do right now on Sirius XM. I'm the executive producer and the star of the #1 sports morning show for the last 14 years. And I'm 5 weeks away from being inducted into the Broadcast and Cable Hall of Fame. Howard Cosell, Dan Rather, Edward R. Murrow, Mike Wallace, Oprah Winfrey. Those are just a few of the names inducted into the Broadcast and Cable Hall of Fame. And this coming September 29th, I am being inducted into the Hall of Fame, officially a Hall of Famer. But I'm not a Hall of Famer for the NABJ. So you can celebrate me to get my national television show to come to your conference. You can ask me to mentor and speak to kids for years. I once spoke at the Mentor Breakfast because Robin Roberts, who's also in the Broadcast Cable Hall of Fame, by the way, was ill and battling cancer at the time, and she could not attend that morning. And they asked me to sub for her. I have all of this, but I'm getting a Thumbs Down Award. Really? You know, my family didn't want me to do this. My friends didn't want me to do this. They actually said, let it go. You know what else they said? They said, who the hell is the NABJ? You know what my response was? It's the place to help get me started. It's the preeminent black journalism organization existing. It's the NABJ. And it's important that I recognize that. You've had your troubles in the past, financial issues, dissension amongst the ranks, people battling for their own shine, whole bunch of stuff that has been listed about the NABJ. What I care to recall is the contributions you've attempted to make as an organization to black upliftment and empowerment in this industry. A facetious question I may throw out, please. What the hell does this Thumbs Down Award have to do with journalism? That's why I'm addressing it. Tell me what it has to do with journalism. Disparaging black women? How? I've heard people bringing up Jasmine Crockett. She was a representative in Texas, representing 766,000 people. Did I sit up there demonstratively asking, why would you curse out the president of the United States with the cameras rolling? How is that going to help you? Yes, I did. Why did I do that? Not only because she's in Texas, and I know they're a little bit different in Texas, a bit more conservative. And I didn't think that would work with her constituency down there. We also saw the issue of redistricting coming up to the forefront. And I said, you have an opportunity to be the Democratic nominee for the United States Senate representing 31 million folks. And you getting that seat. Why? Because your education. Because of the fact that you're licensed to practice law in Texas, in Arkansas, and federally. It would have been a great, great thing. I'm like, yo, weave your way through it. Don't let this guy Tellerico win. Was I wrong? But here's the bigger question. Forget that. I apologize for even asking that question. Here's the bigger question. How is that disparaging? How? Oh, Stephen A. goes after Michelle Obama. She's the one that compared First Take to a reality show. And I use that as an opportunity to say that this marvelous, wonderful woman, who's the greatest first lady in American history, who I have raised and praised and praised and praised time and time and time again, to the point where I said she should run for the presidency because there's no way she'd lose. All I did was say, I don't like the fact that you said a vote for him, as in Donald Trump, would be a vote against us as women. All I said was there's a whole bunch of pro-lifers out there. There's a whole bunch of people that care about the economy or immigration or safety in the streets. They might not even be thinking about this issue. And I also reminded folks, black men revere black women. Which one is it? We're going to sit up there and talk about how we've got women raising us and how much we deify and love and adore these black women. But then all of a sudden we're going to sit up there and act like we're disparaging them? How? How? Kamala Harris. I didn't say this, and I'm still not going to violate trust. But everybody wants to bring up the fact that I sat up there and I pointed out how she didn't even make it to Iowa in 2020, which is fact. And that a Democratic primary was bypassed in order to facilitate her being a Democratic nominee for the presidency of the United States of America. And then you have it in the palm of your hands and in support of millions upon millions of people. And you go on The View and Sonny Houston asked you a softball question, which Sonny Houston acknowledged for The View, threw it right up there for you to smack it out of the park. And you passed by saying, I can't think of anything I would do differently, when it was clearly a border crisis. Last time I checked, NABJ, that ain't journalism. That ain't talking facts. Why would I bring that up? Because I've heard nothing acknowledging those kind of things that I've said. You know what else I didn't hear? I didn't hear that Kamala Harris called me and asked to meet with me privately. And we sat down for 2 hours. See, I'm telling you that because we met after I said those things. Last time I checked, that's a form of journalism. When you're actually sitting down and communicating with the source. You wouldn't know about that, would you, NABJ? I'm not doing any of this to denigrate the NABJ. I want to state for the record, NABJ right now, from what my research tells me, is in pretty good standing. Things have been going very well for them. When you look at it, I'm looking at revenue. I'm looking at that compared to expenses, net income, total assets, total liabilities. I have all the numbers here. NABJ is not doing bad. Let's take a moment to give Representative Haynes props. You see, I did my research. All your controversies, all your troubles, I have right in front of me. But those were years ago, past. That's not now. And the NABJ deserves credit for that. The board, however, clearly engaging in personal attacks, does not deserve such credit. What you did to me is beneath the organization. Where are your facts? You want to bring up Serena Williams? I apologize for that. I'm on national television. I'm flippant with it, joking around with the other fellas. And I basically was saying it really wasn't about her. It really was about her husband. No disrespect, because I was simply pointing out no man wants to see his woman exerting that kind of energy, meaning being on center stage on Super Bowl Sunday for an ex. That's all I was trying to say. But I realized my presentation could have been better. I apologized for that before. I'll apologize for that now. What else you got? Me pushing back at Kerry Champion, former host of First Take? Or Jamel Hill, former colleague at ESPN? I've never said a negative word about them. I was simply saying to them, I don't deserve whatever negative commentary you're giving about me. There's a difference. What did I do? Where are these disparaging remarks about black women? I have 2 daughters. I have 4 older sisters. I was raised by 5 black women. I lost my mother in 2017, the most devastating loss of my life that I will never recover from. I have 10 nieces. You know something else you don't know about me? These disparaging comments about black women, which you have no facts to fall upon. Didn't you see the new show that I created, The Culture Table, on my YouTube channel? Did you see it? Check it out. One's a member of the NABJ. Her name is Tori Cooper. One is my personal executive assistant that has been with me for over 21 years. The other is a lawyer by profession, the founder and the boss of HBCU Week, who was kind enough to ask me to join her as ambassador, where with my minimal contribution, she has been able to raise and generate in excess of $100 million for thousands of students to attend HBCUs. Let me get a little bit personal. I own my own YouTube channel. I have 6 black women working for me. My financial advisor is black. Her name is Stacey Robinson, a brilliant, marvelous lady, and one of my dearest friends on the planet who's watched my back for decades. My lawyer is a shareholder and partner and one of the elite lawyers in this country named Janine Barnes, at a prestigious law firm in Washington, D.C. She's a black woman. I've been surrounded by black female excellence all my life. Where are your facts? Where are they? The reality of the situation is that you don't have facts. You have feelings. And this is where it gets a bit deep. What a few board members decided to do, no doubt egged on by a couple of people on the board who will remain nameless but put their names up. You can see the names there for yourself. Figure it out. Along with some others. The reality is that it was a personal hit job. That's what it was. We can sit up there and lollygag around and act like we don't know any better. It was a personal hit job. Which, by the way, usually doesn't faze me. I know just because you think something fazes me, just because you see me commenting on it. No, I'm in this business. I have a platform. I can comment about anything I want to, and I will continue to do so. That's not what this is. This is different. This is a journalism organization that didn't engage in journalism when it came to critiquing me. Disparaging black women is a very incendiary thing to say. If you felt that adamant about it, President Haynes, how come I never got a call? How come the NABJ never reached out to me to have a conversation? And you would go on stage, Ms. Haynes, and accuse me of disparaging black women with no evidence, just your feelings. This is shameful, but it's okay. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I understand what's going on. And I must admit, the more I think about it, I actually get flattered. Folks are scared. See, I talk too much. And I don't speak glowingly enough about the Democratic Party. This is political. I am a registered independent. I am fair. I've had my YouTube show, or my SiriusXM POTUS show, every Wednesday night, 6 to 8 p.m., SiriusXM POTUS Radio, channel 124. I've had that since September 17th. Here's what you may not know, NABJ, meaning the board members, because I'm not speaking about the entire NABJ. I've got a lot of friends associated with them, and a lot of them called me last night, and I got love for all of y'all. From the calls to the emails to the text messages, I know who has love for me. I'm not mad at anybody. I appreciate it all. But this is political. If I said this about a black female conservative, any of the things that I said about Jasmine Crockett, Kamala Harris, Michelle Obama, would we be having this conversation? Would you have given me the Thumbs Down Award if I had said that about a Sage Steele? If I had said it about a Candace Owens? If I had said it about a Condoleezza Rice? Would we be having this conversation? This is political. What you're not paying attention to is that I've had that POTUS show since September 17th. Ladies and gentlemen, I have had 60 guests in the political sphere. 30 Republicans and 30 Democrats. I am a registered independent who leans left socially and right fiscally. I can't stand high taxes like they exist in New York, New Jersey, and LA. But outside of that, I'm down. And the only thing that I have against the left is pretty much the socialist left. Hakeem Jeffries has been on my show. Senator Slotkin has been on my show. Swalwell was on my show before everything went awry. Representative Clyburn came in studio with me in D.C. The list goes on and on. I ask the questions people indicate they want answers to, and I leave it out there for y'all because I'm not an aficionado. I strive to be fair. And I don't believe you can call people racist and tell them they everything but the child of God, they're pieces of crap and they're this and they're that, but you got your hand out for something, whether it's money or an interview or anything like that. I think that's counterproductive. If you disagree, I respect that. How does that warrant a thumbs down from a journalist organization? What is it about my career that started at the New York Daily News, went to the Philadelphia Inquirer where I got promoted about 9 times, went to CNNSI, to Fox Sports, to ESPN and ESPN Radio, and on top of it all, now it's Sirius XM and owning my own production company and my own YouTube channel. How does any of that warrant what you did? The young aspiring journalist that's out here looking for a come up. I haven't strived to do my part. I don't continue to strive to do my part. I haven't hired people. I haven't gotten people hired. Can't save everybody. Can't hire everybody. But I haven't done anything. You will go. I am having this conversation with y'all, ladies and gentlemen, because of one thing and one thing only. I have been accused of disparaging black women. Where? Where? I can't disagree. I can't question. Oh, it's how you sound. Oh, it's your tone. Really? I was raised by 5 women, 4 older sisters that would argue with me, debate with me, coming out of the womb. And when they had enough, they slapped me upside my head, go take out the garbage, do the dishes, clean your room, get your homework done. Do what you got to do. Hell, my sisters still do it. I'm actually sneaking behind my sister Carmen's back as we speak, as I'm taping this podcast right now. You know why? Because she didn't want me to do it. Everything I am, everything that I've achieved, everything that has uplifted me in my life has been associated with black women. Black women have been my strength, my source of inspiration, and so much more my entire life. The greatest woman I've ever known is a black woman. My mother, Janet Smith, God rest her soul. The women I love most in this world, my sisters, my nieces, my lady, everybody, black women. What are you talking about? Disparaging black women. That was a flat out lie. You have no foundation upon which to fall on. And you know what makes it worse, ladies and gentlemen? President Haynes goes on that stage, never reached out, never called, never talked to me, don't know her. The only person I know on that board is Roland Martin. He never called either, but that's his business. I got no heads up. I knew nothing. I was completely blindsided by all of this. Fine. Why am I bringing that up? Because, ladies and gentlemen, before I taped this show, I reached out last night and asked the president of the NABJ to come on this show to have a conversation with me about her assertions that she articulated on that stage. Do you know what she said to me, ladies and gentlemen? She'd rather have a private off-the-air conversation first. Oh, really? So you can go on a public platform, denigrate me, make these accusations against me without calling. But when I challenge you to come on here face to face and have a conversation with me, now we want a private conversation. Before, nah, I will never speak to her because the deed is done. I was reachable. Roland Martin has my number. They could have gotten it from him. The Sports Task Force, those are my brothers. Gary Howard, Rob Parker, Leon Carter, Marcus Spears. List goes on and on. Galen Gordon, let me not forget him. Whole bunch of people. All of these people. I'm always there and will always be there for the students, the aspiring journalists, those in the field already, always looking for a helping hand. When have I said no? This ain't about disparaging women. This is about people who've politicized everything, looking for an excuse to come at me because you don't like what I have to say. I'm going to put it out there. This is about a bunch of liberals, a bunch of Democrats coming for me. Which is why I should be flattered, because you hear the footsteps, don't you? You know, at any given moment, I can decide to come at it. I can decide to run. Because with the stuff that I'm seeing, it wouldn't be hard to win. I do have some conservative views. And I understand as trifling as this president can be with his behavior and some of the policies he's tried to implement and the kind of things that his behavior has given the okay to. I get it. I get the fear. It's real. I understand it. I'm a black man. I get it. But that does not give a journalist organization the right to attack me that way. And I shouldn't even say the journalist organization because, ladies and gentlemen, please continue to support the NABJ. Please continue to support what they're trying to do to uplift us. We live in very trying times. The advent of AI has arrived. Millions of jobs are speculated to be lost. It's going to be even that much harder to get into the industry and to make some noise in the industry. It's challenging out here. I got it. I'm not talking about the NABJ. I'm just talking about a few board members that came to this conclusion, acting like they speak for everybody. There's plenty of people that were in attendance for the NABJ that had no idea they were going to do that and were absolutely appalled at what they did to me. This is not about the NABJ. This is not an indictment against them. It certainly isn't an indictment against the Sports Task Force filled with a bunch of my brothers that I will always be there for. And it certainly isn't something that should be held against aspiring journalists and those already in the business who aspire to rise higher. I'm always here. But those few board members who made this decision, it was wrong. It was grossly unfair. And more importantly, it was self-defeating. I will repeat, one of your own is about to be inducted into the Broadcast Cable Hall of Fame, the most prestigious honor, other than winning a Pulitzer Prize, the most prestigious honor one can achieve in our business. On September 29th, I am about to be a member. When we look at accomplishments in this industry by black people in this industry, I'm one of the top dudes to have ever achieved in this business. Yet I'm not in your Hall of Fame. I was good enough to speak to the kids. I was good enough to be in the booth for the job fair. I was good enough to have a nationally televised show at your conference over the last 2 years. And the year I don't come back with the show is when I get the Thumbs Down Award. And then you say something as vague as, oh my goodness, he's disparaging black women with no facts. It's pretty sad. By the way, speaking of my company, Disney, that employs me, that I'm a star for, Disney and ABC News Group announced a 4-year financial commitment to NABJ to support the NABJ Leadership Academy. NABJ, why don't you reach out to Disney? And asked who was one of the people behind the scenes encouraging them to do so. Why don't you ask? Black producers, black associate producers, black contributors, black correspondents, black talents. Why don't you ask? What role I've played and will continue to play in that. These are all facts which, as a journalist organization, you're supposed to care about. Where are your facts? I'll leave it at that. I'll just close by saying, I don't want enemies, but I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to call things as I see them, which I've earned the right to do over a journalism career that now spans 33 years. 33. I was good enough to celebrate and to bring on board when I was showing up there. And the second I'm not there, I get a thumbs down. And we throw out a very incendiary critique of me, accusing me of disparaging black women. When what you really meant to say is that I'm disparaging liberals because I happen to disagree with some of the things that the left is doing. People behind the scenes in the political stratosphere, in my opinion, influenced your decision to do what you did. If these so-called disparaging things I did, which again is totally false, were true, and I was saying it about black female conservatives, you wouldn't have said a word. Which means it's not my credibility that's in question. It's yours. Because a journalism organization ain't supposed to be doing that. You ain't supposed to be taking sides. Generally speaking. You're supposed to go on a case-by-case basis. Research, do your homework. But most importantly, be objective. This is not objectivity. This was a smear job. But it won't stop me. It's not going to stop me from listening and learning and striving to get better and be better. It's not going to stop me from continuing to be the ambassador for HBCU Week and do everything that I can to help HBCUs generate money, notoriety, etc. Got something coming down the pike, by the way, where I'm about to ink a deal where we're broadcasting HBCU basketball games. I'm going to need some black folks working for me as talent, as producers, and beyond. That's what I'm doing at NABJ. I got a couple of projects that's been greenlit. Developing shows. I'm going to need some black folks who can act and produce and edit and beyond. That's what I'm doing at NABJ. I got a show on First Take to continue to shine and uplift. And even though he ain't from an HBCU, I would love to have my man Ryan Clark back someday. I love that brother. I would love to have my man Shannon Sharp back someday. I love that brother. The playmaker, Michael Irvin. Damn right. But I also want new blood for ESPN, for SiriusXM, for YouTube and beyond with a podcast network that I'm building. That's what I'm doing in ABJ. What you doing? What you doing? You know what you're doing? Hoping that the young aspiring journalists you serve to uplift will ultimately achieve some of the things I've already achieved. That's what you're doing. And whether you deserve it or not, I will be right there continuously to help the organization and to help all my boys associated with the organization, especially the Sports Task Force. I will never abandon my brothers. And as an organization at NABJ, and thanks again to my man Dr. Ian, a friend of mine, calling me last night to reminding me, yo, bro, everybody ain't against you. There's a lot of us for you. Love that, brother. Appreciate you. My man Galen Gordon, I read your email. My dog. Love you. You know that. List goes on and on. Gary Howard, Rob Parker. Come on, bro. Y'all know it's a brotherhood. You know what you mean to me. The NABJ is the NABJ. Leon Carter, Sports Task Force, David Squires, others. I'm here. I'll never abandon the organization. But I won't forget the few board members and what you tried to do. It was wrong. Totally wrong. I will strive to do better. Will you? I'll leave it at that. Y'all have a beautiful day. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. Because contrary to popular belief, we ain't supposed to be about popularity contests and people agreeing with us and us saying stuff that makes everybody feel good. We're journalists. We're pundits. We're commentators. We're here to disrupt. We're here to provoke the uncomfortable. That's what comes with the job. At least one of us remembered that. Peace and love, everybody. I'll holler at y'all later.